Welcome to Phantom Whisper. Please subscribe. In the heart of the urban sprawl, where city lights dimmed to an eerie glow and shadows clung to the corners of forgotten alleys, there stood an ancient apartment building with a history stained in whispers. It was here, in the decaying heart of the city, that the Candyman was said to emerge. His presence marked by the sickly sweet scent of confectionery that permeated the air. The legend of the Candyman had woven itself into the fabric of the city's folklore. It was said that if you stood alone in front of a mirror in your apartment, whispered his name 5 times, and then turned off the lights, the Candyman would appear, his silhouette obscured by the dark corners of your reflection. Elena, a skeptical young woman with a penchant for the paranormal, scoffed at the tales that circulated around her neighborhood. One fateful evening, curiosity gripped her, and she found herself standing alone in front of the cracked mirror in her dimly lit apartment. The city's hum outside faded into a distant murmur as she dared to speak the Candyman's name. Candyman, 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 Candyman. The words hung in the air, and a chill slithered down Elena's spine. The room seemed to darken, and the scent of sugary treats wafted through the stillness. Elena hesitated, her breath caught in her throat, as the mirror reflected a subtle distortion in the room behind her. A whisper, soft as a breeze, but laden with an unknown promise, filled the silence. Elena, Elena, Elena. The air grew heavy, and a figure emerged from the depths of the mirror, a tall, shadowy silhouette with an otherworldly aura. Elena's heart raced as the Candyman's eyes, 2 gleaming orbs in the darkness, met hers in the reflection. "Do you seek sweetness, Elena?" The Candyman's voice, a haunting melody that danced on the edge of the senses, echoed through the room. Elena, caught in a surreal trance, nodded in response. The allure of the unknown beckoned to her, and the Candyman, a spectral figure wreathed in shadows, extended a hand as if inviting her to step into the reflection. With a sense of trepidation and fascination, Elena took a step forward. The boundary between the real and the surreal blurred as she entered the mirror's darkened realm. The room she left behind became a distant memory, replaced by an otherworldly landscape that mirrored her own reality, but twisted by the Candyman's enigmatic influence. As Elena traversed the shadowy realm within the mirror, the Candyman guided her through a maze of surreal landscapes, a carnival of distorted reflections, each marked by the same eerie sweetness that clung to the legend. Candy canes grew like twisted trees, and cotton candy clouds cast an otherworldly glow over the bizarre terrain. Yet, with each step, Elena felt a subtle unease. The Candyman, his eyes gleaming with an inscrutable intent, led her deeper into the labyrinthine landscape. The air, thick with the cloying scent of confectionery, seemed to close in around her. As they reached the heart of the surreal carnival, the Candyman turned to Elena with a disarming smile. "To truly savor the sweetness, one must confront the shadows within," he murmured, his voice carrying the weight of a forgotten pact. Elena, now uncertain of her own desires, hesitated. The Candyman's silhouette elongated, casting an unsettling shadow that danced across the distorted landscape. The sweet scent that once held a nostalgic allure now seemed to claw at her senses, threatening to drown her in an overwhelming sweetness. A series of mirrors surrounded Elena, each reflecting a distorted version of herself. In each reflection, the Candyman's presence loomed larger, his shadow merging with her silhouette. The mirrors whispered forgotten fears and desires, secrets that Elena had buried deep within her subconscious. The Candyman's voice, now a hypnotic chant, echoed through the mirrored maze. Embrace your shadows, Elena. Taste the sweetness that lies beyond the surface. Consume the echoes of your desires. Caught in the surreal dance, Elena confronted her own reflections. The Candyman's influence warped her perceptions, and the mirrors seemed to multiply, trapping her in a kaleidoscopic nightmare. Her memories, dreams, and fears intertwined, blurring the line between reality and illusion. As the Candyman's presence intensified, Elena felt a surge of conflicting emotions. The sweetness that once held a seductive charm now clawed at her, threatening to overwhelm her senses. The distorted carnival, a surreal reflection of her own subconscious, twisted into a nightmarish labyrinth. With a sudden jolt, Elena awoke on the cold floor of her dimly lit apartment. The mirrors, once gateways to the Candyman's realm, stood as silent witnesses to the surreal journey she had undertaken. The scent of confectionery lingered in the air, a haunting reminder of the shadows that had danced within her subconscious. The legend of the Candyman persisted, whispered among the city's denizens with a mixture of awe and fear. Elena, forever changed by the surreal encounter, grappled with the echoes of her own desires and fears. The mirrors, now reflective portals to a distorted reality, served as a reminder that the sweetest illusions often hid the darkest truths. In the heart of the urban sprawl, where city lights dimmed to an eerie glow and shadows clung to the corners of forgotten alleys, the legend of the Candyman endured, a spectral presence that danced on the edges of the mirrors, waiting to entice those who dared to seek the sweetness within the shadows.